Hey guys, welcome back to Creativity and Inspiration. I'm Lisa. How's everybody doing today? It is Saturday evening-ish. I was going to film this earlier in the day, but ended up Larry wanted to go somewhere and I had to take him. But that's okay. You're getting your video just like I promised. Before we get started though, I want to show you a couple of exciting things and then we'll jump right into the Easy First Fast journal. And it's going to be two different journals, but they're going to be, I think you're going to be very happy with both of these ideas. But like I said, before we get started on the video, I want to show you a couple of items I got and kind of tell you how they're going to be used, something to look forward to. So I got this huge platter. Look at this great art on it. And it's going to be part of future still lifes in my sketchbooks. But guys, the thing with this platter is it's got a few chips. We went to the antique mall today. That's where he wanted to go. So this was in the clearance section. So it was $5, but then it was $75, 75% off. I got this for $1.35. Can you believe that? This thing is huge and it's just going to be beautiful in still lifes. I mean, like I said, it's like a painting itself. So I'm super excited and just wanted to share my really cool find. And I was searching my house looking for a basket to go with that because I'm going to put some fruit in it. And I ran into this. I got a whole bunch of these placemats at a thrift store a couple of years ago. And if you can see the colors in it, it's really pretty. It's fall, right? And then I was digging still for my baskets. And I found these fall dog cups that I got last year at Hobby Lobby. And I'm like, oh geez, okay. Before I do the fresh fruit still life, set that up, I've got to do one more fall setup. I've got to, and I've got to use my placemat for, underneath, and my fall cups, and my little red truck, and I'm going to put some fake pumpkins in. It's going to be so cute, and I don't know if I'm going to use both of these cups or just one, but I love dogs, and these cups are so cute that they have to be at least in one still life. So anyway, that's all going to probably be on next Wednesday's video, but I like to share good deals on here too. So if you go to antique malls, go and look for their clearance section, and you might find some good deals for like paper crafting, crafting in general, art, whatever. Just check it out. And that was your public service announcement. I hope everybody's had a great day. For today's video, okay, the title is Easy First Fast Journal. Ideas for an easy first fast journal. Let's break that down. Easy ideas for a first journal. So say you've been watching videos and, oh my gosh, this is all amazing. Those journals are gorgeous. I saw somebody have this fancy journal that, it had a beautiful fabric cover and so many pages in it with all this stuff on them, and I want to make one. Okay, they said how they did it. I can do that, right? For first-time beginners, we all know it's hard. It's hard. One, you probably don't have everything that went into this journal, right? Oh, and everybody else, the fast journal is next, so stay tuned. Okay, so you probably don't have everything, if you're new, to go into, or if you've made a couple but they don't look like all those perfect journals that you see. That's because you are a beginner. You don't have all the things. Maybe you don't know all the techniques. And that's okay. It's okay to be a beginner. Everybody's a beginner at some point in something. Okay? We were all beginners in life. So I'm going to show you how to make a super easy first journal. And this is a formula that anybody can follow. In fact, I wish somebody had told this to me, because I was literally in tears thinking I was the worst crafter ever with my first few journals. So you can take a piece of scrapbook paper. It can be any It can be any scrapbook kind of paper. Like this is more flimsy, and this was a single sheet. This one, more flimsy, a single sheet. Or it can be out of a book. And you know, the ones in here sometimes tend to be a little thicker, a little stiffer. Doesn't matter. So whatever you prefer, whatever you have is fine, okay? It can be printed on double side or it can be plain on one side. It doesn't matter. Just any sheet you have. What you're going to do is you're going to fold that sheet in half. So you want tall like a tree trunk, okay? And then that is probably, I would guess, about 6 inches across. Yep, 6 inches, right on the dot. So all you're going to have to do, since you folded it first, is measure to 9 inches tall and cut off the rest. That's it. Very, very simple. So you took your single sheet of scrapbook paper, 12 by 12, you folded it in half. There's your 6. So all you're going to do is measure up and find 9. And if you're like me and blind, you need to put on your glasses. Make your little mark wherever it is and get your paper cutter out if that's what you use. If you don't and you just have scissors, that's fine too. I don't cut straight lines. I don't care. If you care, use your paper cutter. If you don't care, just cut. But don't be like me and always lose the mark you make. And then just cut off everything that is above the 9-inch mark. And if you're going to cut at the same time, make sure your paper stays together. It's not straight, but it's cut. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. So there's your cover. Boom. Done. And here's the nice thing about being a beginner, okay? Here's the nice thing about being a beginner. This is a beautiful cover. If you want to stop right here and have this be the front of your cover, that's perfectly fine. But if you don't, we'll talk about decorating in a minute. But here's your cover. Now, what are you going to do for pages? I mean, I was like, okay, going back, watching all the videos. Oh, okay, they use book pages. They use coffee dyed paper. I've never did coffee dyed paper. You know, oh, they use, oh, I don't know. You know, I don't have some of those papers. What am I going to do? Easy First Journal. Use plain white. If you have a printer, use plain white printer paper. If you have notebook paper, either one of those. Either one. So pick one. The only other thing you're going to need is some ink. And you're like, well, I only have black ink. Black ink works. You just need ink. You don't have to have the tea stain color ink, the light brown ink, the coffee ink, all those different things. If you have black ink, which a lot of people do, use that. If you have brown, use that. If you don't have any ink, but you have a crayon, use that. It will work. It won't be the same, but it will work, okay? We'll talk about that in a minute. So, get you, how big do we want to make this? I'm going to make it kind of small, but that'll be fine. You, if you're a beginner, get you, you want a 10-page, get 5 sheets of copy white printer paper or notebook paper. If you want a little bigger, get 10 sheets. That's going to be 40. Now, get 5 sheets because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 times 5 is 20 pages front and back. And that will be 10 pages folded. Pages like you can touch pages. So it'll be 20 front and back, or it'll be 10 pages. That's a great start for a beginner. So get your paper right now. And go ahead and get your ink or that brown black crayon, whatever you have, get that right now as well. So I've got my ink, I've got my paper, and we've got our cover. What you're going to do is take your 5 sheets of paper and rip all sides off, just a little bit like this. Okay, you want the edges rough like that. So get to ripping. And your pages are going to be different sizes. They're not going to be straight, and that is perfectly fine. And on some of them, rip some big chunks, and others rip smaller chunks. Make them more uneven. If you're sitting here trying to be nice and neat and rip the same amount either side, that's not the look you want. You want it to look ripped and messy and different all over. Okay, this is what you're going for. Just like that. Okay, just like that. So get to ripping, and I'll see you back here in just a minute. Okay guys, welcome back. As you can see, I've got all my pages torn. They're all different. Some have big chunks, some have little chunks. They're just all different, and I love them. So once you get your 5 pages, all the edges ripped off like this, just fold them in half. And no, they're not all going to be the same. They're all going to be different. But just fold them in half. But just like that. Now, you can do this one at a time. You can do the whole stack at one time, however you want to. But now, we're just going to ink our edges. And you know, if you've never inked edges before, there's a couple of ways you can do it. And I'll show you one at a time. I actually like to do multiple pages together, but I'll show you one at a time. In the beginning, I didn't have this little handy dandy inker tool. So I just took this and kind of just went around the pages. And because these are, you know, front and back pages, you kind of have to do it on both sides for the ink to show up on both sides. If you just do it on one side, the ink will show really good on one side, and the other side, it'll hardly show up. So I double ink both front and back my pages. And it's going to make them pop. I did a video one time about the difference inking can make on things, and I'll try to find it and put a card above. And then at the end of this, you know, at the end screen where it recommends videos, I will put the paper coffee staining video in there for you. Once you get them inked up front and back, you can put them all back in their stack together. Make sure they're folded in half. Put them inside your cover, and we're going to bind them in our journal. So ink your pages real quick. I'm going to ink mine, and I'll meet you here. Oh, almost forgot. If you don't have any inks at all, if you have a pencil or crayons, doesn't matter, whichever one you have, you can lay your pencil on its side and kind of do the edges like that. And I'll show you how this looks. Hold on. You can do them up and down, or you can do them across, whichever way you want. But I'll show you how this will look. If you do them across, not going off the page, but up and down the page like that, or across the side, it'll look better. Let me show you. Hold on. Let me do this one, and then I will show you up close real quick. And do it as dark or as light as you want. Remember, everything's personal preference. We are all different, and we all like things different. But I'm going to show you what that looks like. You can also do that with a crayon. But see, you get an effect like ink. So this is a nice alternative if you don't have inkjet. And I mean, what if you're watching videos and you decide, hey, I want to do this, and maybe you're a card maker? Then you have inks, paper, and everything. But what if you're watching videos and you just started on your card making journey and you might not have inkjet? You know, you might literally just be starting out as a crafter and you don't even have scrapbook paper or anything yet. Use what you have. Your cover. It doesn't have to be scrapbook paper. It can just be another sheet of printer paper that you didn't tear the edges off of. Because we'll talk about the front in just a minute, decorating it. So if you don't have any scrapbook paper, you don't have any, maybe you have colored printer paper. That'll work as a cover. Or if you don't, you could use a piece of notebook paper because it would be different than your inside pages. Just remember your cover is going to be nice and the edges aren't going to be torn on it, regardless of what it is. But you could also use a crayon around the edges instead of a pencil if you have crayons. Just take the paper off of them and do the same way on the side of the crayon. Believe me, when you are first starting and you don't have anything, you can still create an easy first journal without spending any money. And speaking of crayons, if you know you have a coloring book, an adult coloring book, a kid's coloring book, take a page out, use that as your cover. That would be an amazing cover too. Okay, ink up, pencil, crayon, do your edges of your inside pages that you tore, and we'll come back together when we're done. Okay guys, if when you're inking or doing the color or whatever, and ink or color gets on the page and everything, that's fine. That's just going to make it, you know, a little more interesting. So once you get all your pages done, and you have them folded, put them inside your cover. Now at this point, we're going to attach them. So you want to center them. And you just center them by making sure the creases are lined up. That's it. Very simple. And then you can attach them multiple ways. But as a beginner, I'm going to give you two very simple ways. One, you can do the pamphlet stitch, which is you poke a hole in the middle of the paper and the covers, and one at the top and one at the bottom, and then you thread your thread through, or you staple them, or you use a rubber band. But we want them permanently bound for your easy first journal. So I recommend poking a hole in the center, at the top, or at the bottom, or stapling. I'm going to do the staples. Because when I first started, I had thread and stuff, but I didn't understand the pamphlet stitch. And to do this, you might kind of have to bend your paper weird to get it stapled, but it unbends. Okay, so it's not a big deal. Don't crease it, just kind of fold it and put in your first staple. And again, just line up your stapler so you're in that, you know, folded crease. And do that all the way down. And if you're stapling it, just put the staples at the top and bottom. That's fine. And there we go. And then flatten it back out, and you have a book that's pages ready to go. Really cool, right? But you're saying, okay, but those other pages I see are decorated. True. But again, this is your first journal. We're making it easy. We want you to come away with a positive experience. Something I did not have the first few times. And I'm going to show you how to, this is already super cute. You've got the torn pages, they're inked up, but you want to add just a little something. Okay, I'm going to give you the secret to adding just a little something, not a lot. You can cut shapes out of magazines, you can cut shapes out of paper, you can cut out of coloring books, whatever you have. But I only want you to cut out 3 shapes, just 3 of anything you want, and get some washi tape. One color, doesn't matter to me. Get those things and come back. Okay guys, once you get your 3 shapes, we're going to come in and we're going to put them just down in the corner. That's it. We're not going to make pockets. We're not going to make tuck spots. We're just going to put a couple of those shapes down in the corner. And I'm going to put the heart on the first one. So let me get some double-sided tape. You can glue yours if you want. You could sew it if you wanted to. But we're keeping this simple, and we're pretending that, you know, you are a true beginner like I was, and you don't have a lot of items. Okay, see how cute that is? Now we're going to leave a bunch of it blank. And we're going to come to the center of our signature. And I'm going to put the little girl on here. And I'm going to put her mid-page. Okay, right there. And then I'm going to skip back a little bit more right to here. And I'm going to put this big circle, again, at the bottom. Just like that. It's kind of oversized, but it's what I pulled out. So we're going to go with it. And that is your first journal. It's beautiful. It's very stylish with its torn pages. You have tons of room to write. You have some, you know, interest with your little images you just cut out of a magazine or, you know, a coloring book. And this is a great first journal you just created. And this says, you know, you have a style. And this was a super easy first journal, but look how cute this is. Very efficient. And it's something that you can build on. I would have loved it if my first journal, if somebody had said, hey, this is the formula for an easy first journal. And then you build on it from here. Now, with that in mind, we're going to go to an easy fast journal. And this fast journal builds on our journal we just did right here. And you expand. Instead of having just plain printer paper, you have plain printer paper, coffee stain printer paper, and wax paper or tissue paper. That's it. 3 papers, okay? You're going to ink your pages or not. It doesn't matter because you've got different types of paper. If you want to go in and ink them, ink them. If you don't, leave them plain. You're also going to add an envelope at the front for storage. And you're going to add a glassine bag at the back for storage. That's it. That's all the storage. The envelope in the front, which is actually a page. You're going to sew it in like a page. And the glassine at the back, which is on the cover. And then you're going to put a few more things on the edges, but not a lot. Here, I used a tag. I used a tag and put a big ticket in it. That's it. Keep it simple. You can decorate the opposite side of that page with some yarn, something simple. Then you skip a bunch of pages if you want. And then you make a tuck spot. And in the Fast Easy Journal, you're going to use a lot of fabrics and paper. And we're going to use a lot of clusters, a lot of things that we had pre-made. That's the key. Being experienced journal makers, we have stashes of these pre-made clusters. Some are all paper clusters, some are paper and fabric, some are all fabric. For an easy journal that you want to look like, for an easy, fast journal that you want to look like it took weeks and weeks, you're going to use the fabric. Nothing says takes time more than fabric. So as you're building this up, you're going to throw in a tuck spot, and it's going to be one of your fabric clusters with paper, okay? Then you might throw in a piece of washi tape down a side. Then here's our tab. It's a flip out, but it's also a fabric tab. I don't have a lot in here. If you notice, 90% of our pages are blank. Here again, we just have a cluster we made. It's a corner tuck spot. And then the back, this is the other side of our envelope at the front, and there's our bag. So we have like 1 cluster, 2 clusters, 3 clusters, and that's it. That's all we used. And then our front cluster. So to make your fast journal, you're going to need to have all your pre-made clusters. And just have those, because when you need this fast gift, they're there. You grab them, you make this simple base of a journal, you throw in your few little clusters in spot, you still leave 90% of your pages blank. It looks elegant, it's not overwhelming, but they're going to think it took you a long time. So here's our white printer paper. There's our coffee stain. You alternate white with coffee stain, white with coffee stain, and every once in a while you throw in that wax paper. And I like to use the wax paper that I put the dry paper, the coffee stain paper on to dry. And you throw in that wax paper because it gives you a sound element. And I talked about that using your senses in journals. And you throw in the washi tape for texture. You can throw it in for a bit of shine, again, using your senses. And then, like I said, you want to use your fabric clusters. And this is an easy journal, but it's more put together than our beginner journal because we're tapping into our experience. So here's your fast journal. Here's your easy journal. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope if you're a beginner, you like the super easy first journal. And if you're more experienced, I hope I gave you some ideas how if you need a journal in a pinch, you can create one that looks like you took weeks on it in a matter of less than an hour. So thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you super, you all mean so much to me. And for everybody new, again, thank you for being here. It really means a lot. Have an amazing what's left of the weekend. I will see you probably on Monday, maybe Tuesday. Take care. Have an awesome rest of your night.